Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, mysticism, and business, and good planning, and the silence to rapid lifestyle transformation. And I just feel this week, ladies and gentlemen, just looking everywhere, whether it's people with whom I'm connected, whether it's my own environment, whether it's people who are sending me questions through emails, and so on and so forth. I feel just sort of a spirit of busyness. And I feel a spirit of people trying to get somewhere so much that they forget about the present moment. And then they shoot themselves in the foot by doing that. They forget who they are. They forget the basis of who they are. And we've talked about from the very early days of this channel that the basis of who you are is divinity. You're already it. And you're already united with everything that you want. In fact, all of the modalities are just so that you can enjoy the process of it, but don't get carried away in the modality, and don't sort of let it be a separation from who you are, and don't sort of let it become work. Even this strategic planning process, which fascinates me just because I love the process of it. I love the process of just allowing yourself to use your left brain and allowing yourself to point and target with your left brain and apply some of these principles from history, from philosophy, and from various disciplines, and also getting out of your own way and allowing your right brain to have its rightful place as the full self who can see on the mountaintop, so to speak. Your right brain can be likened to the part of yourself. If we could say that in the game we're divided into two parts, the right brain can be likened to that part of yourself who, if you were walking through a forest with trees and couldn't see very far ahead of you, that person is on the mountain and can see everything that's coming towards you. Well, the planning process is a way to get out of your own way and allow your higher self to direct you. But a lot of people are getting caught up in it and are using it as another piece of work, using it as another way to separate themselves from what they want. This is not what we want. Of course, we're going to continue on with the strategic planning process. Of course, on October 3rd, we're going to be starting the first phase of this, the first actual planning phase, which is going to be the testing of streams of income and the practicing in those principles that you learn from that, rehearsing yourself into that, and so on and so forth. Or so that the second 6 months is when you're going to be rehearsing yourself into those specific streams that you choose in the first 3 months, in the first 6 months. You're going to be free from a job and a boss within a year, probably a lot earlier. But as we said, we're going to be taking a lot of breaks on the way, and you have to give yourself refreshment. I talked about this in a video, I think yesterday or the day before. You have to drink some coffee, which is what I have now. I want to just basically freestyle, freeform, guide you into some refreshment. I want to remind you that right this moment, no matter what your feeling is, no matter what your thought is, you already have everything it is that you need and that you want. In fact, that's why, again, why we go into the Stoicism component in this channel, why we go into the minimalism component of this channel, because other law of assumption teachers, they don't go into this at all. They don't go into the ethics of wanting. And of course, you can have anything you want, including without ethics. But as Joel Goldsmith said, you may be very sorry later. So it's good to approach this with a full understanding of what the philosophy of life is, what your philosophy of life is, and what the actuality actually is. So that when you come to a manifestational dry spell, or when you come to any obstacle, you don't look at that obstacle, but rather you remain in state, and you remember, as the great Bashar said, circumstances do not matter, only state of being matters. So, remember, all of this is a game, and nothing exists but one moment, as again Bashar said. There's only one moment as seen from different points of view. So I just want us to drop into that present moment. I just want us to do it together, because it's going to be a healing process for many of you who are feeling angst, who are feeling frustrated, who are even feeling a little bit of anxiety. I just want to guide you to this present moment, show you how easy it is. As one meditation teacher called it, I want you to just drop into the present moment. You don't even have to change your posture. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't even have to get into an alpha state, because you will be in an alpha state when you do this. I just want you to go into the power of now, what Eckhart Tolle talks about, in the power of now. Just observe your surroundings. Just drop into your surroundings. Not waiting for anything to happen, not expecting anything to happen. Because all of the possibilities of the universe, all of the film rolls which you could experience, are simultaneously within you, because you are it. And remember this: if you stop, they stop, because these film rolls, as Vadim Zeland talks about, and as Neville Goddard talks about, and we might even read that passage from Neville Goddard that talks about this, but as Neville Goddard talks about, these film rolls are not moving. They're still. They only move when you actually bring life to them, but when you withdraw attention from them, they become still, and you are truly outside of time and space. There's also, in the Islamic tradition, this Quranic story about one of the prophets. I think it was Yeshua. I think it was him, alayhi salam, who, when he was fighting a battle, Allah stopped the sun. He stopped time for a time during that battle, so that Yeshua could get the advantage, so to speak. So time is very malleable, and time doesn't exist. It only exists in relation to the observer and the observed. So you can stop time, and you can be in that present moment right now. And as you're doing this very spiritual practice, just drop into your body and see how your body is feeling, both in physical feelings, or they're all physical actually, they're all chemical, which means that they're just, you can define them as physical, and they touch not your mind. They touch not the higher part of you. And that's a blessing, that's a revelation in itself. Just observe them. If you have any feeling of anxiety, if you have any feeling of boredom, or if you have any feeling that's lower than that on the emotional scale, just observe that. Just bring your awareness to that. But also don't forget about the exterior. don't forget about the external stimuli, which are also part of that, because really the inner is the outer. There's no inner and there's no outer. Krishnamurti called this choiceless awareness. You're not doing a structured meditation. You're not focusing on anything. Of course, I am a coach in focus, and your tool of focus is the operative power in getting you everything that you want. But when you just allow your focus to roam free, and you actually silence your left brain, you don't silence it because that's force, but you simply observe the physical stimuli of your environment and you just be in that ocean of awareness, then your right brain is able to bring focus behind the scenes to whatever it is that your left brain has commanded it to focus on, and it is working now. While you're completely present, you're allowing spiritual forces and your right brain to actually do the work for you. And this is accomplishment, ladies and gentlemen. These few minutes that you're going to be spending with me just sort of contemplating and meditating are going to be the most productive minutes of your week. If you do it every day, they're going to be the most productive moments of your day. In fact, some of your planning sessions can be this. Joel Goldsmith called this just relaxing into it. Just relax into it. And many of the New Thought authors called this going into the silence. You can close your eyes too, but we're just doing this free exercise where you're just opening your eyes and you're just observing everything around you. Be still and know that I am God, is what the biblical scriptures say. Be still and know that I am his God. At this point, don't even care about how you feel. Just observe it. And I'm already starting to feel just amazing. Just all the tingling sensations, just endorphins spreading throughout my body. Because as the great Dr. Joe Dispenza showed in his book, Becoming Supernatural, he actually showed all the science behind this. And he showed that right now you're going into alpha and even some of you theta brainwaves right now. And you're doing it without taking any thought. You're doing it without practicing a technique. And at this level, Joe Dispenza talked about how your reptilian brain is given a chance to now perform its functions naturally and uninterfered with. Because when you're thinking all over the place and when you're firing thoughts, so to speak, all over the place, you're firing disparate hormones all over the place. And also your brain waves are not coherent. But when you can just silence your mind, your brain waves become very coherent. And now the natural body is able to chemically rebalance and is able to utilize its pharmacy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the human body is the greatest pharmacy in the world. Of course, that's why Big Pharma doesn't want you to do this, but Now, if you're ready, and you are ready, by the way, many of you will be feeling exhilarated right now. Some of you may still be feeling anxiety or boredom or anything like that. And that's fine. Just observe those feelings. And in fact, as we released in a video yesterday, you can embrace and love those feelings. And like the great William Irvine said, you can sort of have a masochistic enjoyment of those feelings. And those feelings will soon go through you and dissipate. But now, our rational mind, our higher mind, is clean, so to speak, as Marcus Aurelius said. And if we want, we can contemplate now great truths, and they can have more of an effect upon us. We don't really have to study as much. We don't have to work as hard at learning, because our intellect is now pretty much clean. So now we can start to contemplate just upon some of the statements of the greats. And of course I have with me the great book by Neville Goddard, Power of Imagination. Here's the story of a mystical experience that he's had. The great Neville Goddard. He said, "Blessed are they whose imagination," or he's commenting on this biblical verse that, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." And he said, the day I realized this great truth, that everything in my world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within me, which, by the way, Bashar gave that as the definition of metaphysics. Everything is simply a reflection of what's going on within you. Everything. Contemplate that. Really deeply contemplate it. Work it around in your mind, still while you're maintaining this feeling of presence. Still while you're maintaining this focus. Don't think about it with your left brain. Allow it to impinge, as the Zen teachers say. Just allow it to impinge. Just allow it to slow cook, crock pot, so to speak. And he continues, "and that the circumstances and conditions of my life only reflect the state of consciousness with which I am fused, is the most momentous in my life. But the experience that brought me to this certainty is so remote from ordinary existence, I have long hesitated to tell it, because people will think you're crazy if you relate your mystical experiences too openly. So I only tell the initiated." "Nevertheless, this experience revealed to me that I am supreme within the circle of my own state of consciousness. And that is the state with which I am identified that determines what I experience. Therefore, it should be shared with all. For to know this is to become free from the world's greatest tyranny, what we call in this channel the prison grid, the belief in a second cause." There is no second cause, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one cause. There's only one power. And that is consciousness. And if you want to even really go more deeply into it, you can get into what the Zen masters teach. The Zen philosophers. There's not even one cause. There's no cause. There's no thing. There's only the void. And right now you're experiencing the void. We're experiencing it, ladies and gentlemen, simply by dropping into presence and doing this exercise. And now listen to the story that Neville's going to relate about how he came to this realization. "One day I quietly slipped from my apartment in New York City into some remote yesteryear's countryside." He means in his imagination. in his consciousness. And this can either be something that's self-directed, or it can be something that comes upon you in a vision, and so on and so forth. And these will happen, but there's really no difference between the two, ladies and gentlemen, because remember, there's no dichotomy in ultimate reality. So, you receive all of your thoughts, and at the same time you initiate them, because again, there's only one. Now this is deep, and I hope you're ready to take this leap with me here. As I entered the dining room of a large inn, I became fully conscious. I knew that my physical body was immobilized on my bed back in New York City. Yet here I was as awake and as conscious as I have ever been. I intuitively knew that if I could stop the activity of my mind, everything before me would freeze. No sooner was the thought born than the urge to try. No sooner was that thought born than the urge to try it possessed me. I felt my head tighten, then thicken to a stillness. My attention concentrated into a crystal clear focus, and the waitress walked not. And I looked through the window, and the leaves falling fell not. And the family of four ate not, rather. And they lifting the food lifted it not. Then my attention relaxed, the tightness eased, and all of the sudden, all moved onward in their course. The leaves fell, the waitress walked, and the family ate. Then I understood Blake's vision of the sculptures of Los's halls. I sent you to reap that whereon you bestowed no labor. This is in the book of John. Creation is finished. So, it's also reminiscent of the Islamic ahadith about when Yawm al-Qiyamah, or the Day of Judgment, comes, that a person will be lifting food to his mouth and it will stop. A person will be taking other actions, trying to lift a drink to his mouth, and it will stop. That Qiyamah happens every time, metaphysically. You become completely present and you realize yourself as the observer. So there is no time. So you can take this time to contemplate. And I just want to read some from the great Marcus Aurelius. One of the great statements. As physicians have always their instruments and knives ready for cases which suddenly require the skill of the physician, so do thou have principles ready for the understanding of things divine and human, and doing everything, even the smallest, with a recollection of the bond which unites divine and human to one another, meaning, do everything with mindfulness. Do everything with presence. Do everything feeling that bond of unity which unites the observer and the observed, which unites the right and left brain with one another, and just be in that state of focus, and you will get into that state of flow, and that's just going to carry you along with no toil, with no labor. Let that sink in. He also said, the great Marcus Aurelius, "Try how the life of a good man suits thee, the life of him who is satisfied with his portion of the whole, and is satisfied with his own just acts and benevolent disposition." So, for the point of view of our contemplations in our course, be satisfied with that inner life. Be satisfied with the knowledge that you are it, and you have it, and try that life. Try the life of not relying on the outer for your justification, for your reason of feeling good, for your reason of being. Try just for one day the life of a good man or woman, the man or woman who follows his or her own inner focus and allows that to be the compass. We're contemplating these, ladies and gentlemen. We're letting these impinge. He also said, Marcus Aurelius, "Always run to the short way. That's the path of least resistance. And that's the path of going where you want to go immediately by focus, within your imagination, within your skull, and not trying to take the path, the long path, the hard path, through trying to battle with external conditions." Why? Because we know that the external conditions have no power. They're not causes. Therefore, if you're battling them, you're setting them up. You're choosing them. Know this well. Contemplate it. And the short way is the natural, he said. It's the most natural way. It's the way of using the faculty which is uniquely given to you as a human. That's what the ancient Greeks would have called the nous, or the intellect. That's what I'm calling on this channel the focus. It's what Neville calls your imagination. It's that faculty that's given to you. It's your specific way of creating. Of course, all of the others have mind, and they have intelligence and reason, and so on and so forth, skill. But that's not the way of the good man. The way of the good man is to rely upon and utilize the specific tool that was given to us for creating. And that is creating within, and then allowing the circumstances to come about. Do not struggle for your bread. These are my words, not Marcus Aurelius. But this is what we can chew from the statements of the great Marcus Aurelius. Think upon these things. Accordingly, say and do everything in conformity with the soundest reason of who you are. For such a purpose frees a man from trouble and warfare and all artifice and ostentatious display, which means it frees you from having to struggle for it, and it frees you from thinking you have to show off to others and impress others, care about what they think. You don't, because everything that you want is within you right now. That's why what we're doing right now is so important. This is the work, ladies and gentlemen. This is the work. Here is a crowning statement. And this is, I think, the one that we're going to contemplate here. I think it's the last one that we're going to contemplate before I move on to the next phase of this exercise. if we could call it that. Marcus Aurelius said, "How easy it is to repel and to wipe away every impression which is troublesome or unsuitable, and immediately to be in all tranquility." I want to read that again so that it really sinks in. No matter what your momentum is, no matter how bad you're feeling, no matter what situation is going on, no matter what, it's easy. How easy is it to repel and to wipe away every impression which is troublesome or unsuitable, and immediately be in all tranquility. Marcus Aurelius. As Abraham Hicks says, you can always get into the vortex, which is in that good feeling, natural state. You can't always do it by focusing on what you're not in the vortex about, but you can do it by focusing on other things, and it behooves you to do that. But an even faster and more essential way than that, one that works immediately, is what Eckhart Tolle talks about in The Power of Now. And that is not even focusing on another topic. That is simply focusing on the pure sensations of the now. What both the Stoics and the Zen masters spoke about. Being on the razor's edge of the now. Focusing upon the now, right now. What we're doing now. And you're immediately there. Now what I want us to do, just ending this exercise, ladies and gentlemen, this beautiful exercise, I already feel just great, amazing, just contemplating on these things. My wisdom has grown interiorly, and I know everything in my life is already resolving itself, and it's going on with you as well. Now what I want you to do is go straight to that imagination, that focused part of you. And I want you to just, we did this in other videos, but if you haven't watched them, that's fine. I want you to go to your place of refuge and sanctuary. It could be an ornate room, a beautiful room that you know is secluded, and you know that you have all the time that you want to be alone there. You could have a very nice bed, very nice piece of furniture, and a place on the wall where you can project your ideas and so on and so forth. Maybe a screen. You're in perfect safety and security right now, and I want you to just be completely present in that room as you were in the room that you're in watching this video. You're sitting on a very comfortable, beautiful cushion. You're completely present. Now close your eyes, and I just want you to imagine what it is that you want right now. As Bashar says, what's your highest excitement? What is one thing that you want right now that you have a high desire for? Just imagine the scene of that for a few moments. Just put yourself in that and forget about any fact that you're not there. You're there right now. I want you to bring a focus and an intensity to this. And I want you to be completely present in that scene, doing whatever it is that you want to do. Perhaps it's a business you want to have. You see yourself in the middle, joyfully operating that business already. Perhaps it's a sum of money. I want you to see yourself doing what you would do if you already received that money. Don't think about what happened before, how you received it. Just be in that state of having it and how are you spending it. I want you to be there physically and see that this imagination is real. It's just as real as the room that you're sitting in watching this YouTube video. And it's just as real as the room that you've created for yourself as your inner sanctuary. Get really deeply into it. Fill in the sounds and the sights. You can do this. Could be a specific person that you're wanting to be with. Now, when you're ready, open your spiritual eyes, not your physical eyes. The eyes of you sitting in your sanctuary. Now you're back in your sanctuary. Just observe the surroundings of that. And hypnotize yourself. Say, I can go into this sanctuary anytime that I want. I'm surrounded by it. And I can be there just with a moment of closing my eyes. And I feel safe here and I feel creative here. And now, start feeling yourself back into the room in which you're watching this video. Just feel the surroundings. And I want you to slowly, when you're ready, open your eyes, but I want you to just be completely present. You're still in that presence, and just look around the room. The presence that held you in your imaginative state, the presence that held you in your secure area, your secure room, and the presence that you're partaking in now in this film role is the same presence. That's proof, ladies and gentlemen. It's undeniable, irrefutable proof that all of those dimensions exist within you and they exist within your presence, and the presence was the common thread through which you participate in all of them. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I hope you participated in it vigorously. I hope you feel a lot better if you have any sort of anxiety. And refocus, ladies and gentlemen. This is a way to renew your mind and to refocus. Be present for the rest of the evening. Just walk around, observing yourself, observing your emotions, and realize that you are the space. There's only one power. There's nothing to fear. So I thank you so much for going into the silence with me. I feel the energy. I already feel the energy of all of our viewers and subscribers getting together in this presence, and we have made an impact. And we look for signs of that impact right this very night and in the coming days. So we're going to be getting back into the nitty-gritty of strategic planning starting tomorrow. I appreciate you watching the videos. I appreciate you subscribing if you find value in our content. I appreciate you commenting on the videos. Keep sending your questions. They give me great material to make the videos. So until very soon, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, this is Javier with great love and appreciation in presence, in love. Ciao. We'll see you very soon.